Craig Revel Horwood here is worried about what he might say. In other words, expressing an opinion, expressing his right to an opinion, because he's worried that he might say something offensive and either get cancelled or indeed, I suppose, a la Alison Pearson, if he says something particularly cutting, he might end up with a knock on the door from Plod. Look, this is the BBC again.
Strictly Come Dancing. It used to be one of those television pleasures, didn't it? And one of the reasons was watching Craig Revel Horwood tear to pieces the dancers and the celebrities who were a bit useless. And that was fine. I've had friends of mine go on that show, John Sargent and Whitcomb. They were terrible, and you wanted them to be slammed for it, but not anymore, because the country has gone so woke, the mainstream media has gone so woke, the British Bashing Corporation has gone so woke that Craig Revel Horwood, the original Queen of Mean, has now admitted that he has to be a little pussycat. Look at the Sun front page, revel without a cause. Strictly's Craig Revel Horwood, this is according to The Sun, has admitted canning his catty comments towards celebrity dancers over fears he will be cancelled. The judge of 20 years gave a rare 10 score on Saturday and says he has toned down his Mr. Nasty act following the Giovanni Pernice bullying scandal. And this is what Craig had to say about it. I have changed my style of judging. I was really harsh 20 years ago. When I look back, I thought, oh, that's cutting. I do still say what's wrong, but can wrap the truth in a nice way. I'm thinking more like a teacher than a judge. How boring. We don't want him to be a teacher. I loved those old comments. Do you remember when he told Jeremy Vine that he danced like a stork that had been struck by lightning? Or told the former Home Secretary, Jackie Smith, that she limped about like she was lost at a party somewhere drunk? Or even, do you remember when, he's now his fellow judge, but when he told Anton Dubik that he was wearing awful fake teeth before realizing they were actually Anton Dubik's own teeth. And look, you can look at this in one way. Let me bring my superstar panel back in, Russell Quirke, Charlie Bentley Astor. And Russell, you can look at this at one way and say, oh, you know what, it's not that big a deal. But to me, it is, because it is totally indicative of the woke mind virus running through everything. And I don't want everyone to be nice all the time. Sometimes it's very important that we say tough things and that we give tough feedback.
Yeah, it's an indication of wokeism kind of at its extreme, but it also goes back to the point about freedom of speech. Craig Revel Horwood here is worried about what he might say. In other words, expressing an opinion, expressing his right to an opinion, because he's worried that he might say something offensive and either get cancelled or indeed, I suppose, a la Alison Pearson, if he says something particularly cutting, he might end up with a knock on the door from Plod. Look, this is the BBC again, we should not forget. And the BBC, I think, have forgotten that what they're there to do is to entertain us. They're supposed to be believe it or not, a light entertainment department within the BBC. Now, if you can't have someone like Craig or whoever having a bit of banter, taking the mickey a little bit and making the audience laugh, well then, frankly, Dan, what's the point of Strictly? Because I don't think people necessarily watch it for the grace and elegance of celebrities that have never danced before to dance. They do it because of the reaction. They do it because of the mistakes that are sometimes made and the laughter and the parody and the kind of the banter. So, if we're going to sanitize television and indeed entertainment and comedy, what next? Banning Ricky Gervais? Telling us that we can't listen to comedians that might offend us? Comedy and banter are by their very nature offensive. And we've got to, and I don't hold out much hope for this, but we've got to stop worrying about everybody being offended, or indeed people worrying about it offending people. As we've all said, I'm sure, all three of us, many, many times before in public, no one has the right not to be offended. And frankly, particularly a celebrity on Strictly Come Dancing, who honestly has signed up for 100 grand, 500 grand, whatever they're getting paid, to be insulted by the likes of Revel Horwood.
Exactly. And you know what? People are switching off. It is genuinely a case of go woke, go broke. The numbers are at record lows. And that isn't just because we're switching off the mainstream media altogether, by the way. It is because people don't want this saccharine, sweet type of television, which is now stuffed down our throat. I mean, Charlie Bentley Astor, I don't watch the BBC, really. The only one I still watch is The Apprentice, because Lord Alan Sugar is still allowed to be tough on people, and I like that as a result. But Charlie, it's a really serious point, isn't it, from Russell, that actually, given the madness that we're seeing with these non-hate crime incidents, and people literally getting visits from the police because they've told someone they have a bad haircut or that they smell of fish, it's not too hard to find a situation where Craig's comments in the past on the show could have actually prompted the police to get involved.
I know, and it just ruins television, because any story is about the stakes. To have a story arc, you need something to be at risk. And what is at risk when these people dance is their humility and their reputation. And that's the point. You know, like you said, we're not watching for the dancing. We could all pay to go and see a West End show if we wanted to see good dancing. It's about seeing amateurs attempt something and fail in the attempt, but without having the standards, there's nothing to aspire to. It's a game which gets ruined. It's the sports day where everybody wins. You know, if you know that everyone's going to get a 7, 8, 9, or 10, why are you going to bother watching?
But that is so BBC, though, isn't it? Everyone's a winner. We never want to be tough. And the problem is, I do think they have ruined the show somewhat because of their reaction to the Amanda Abbington, Giovanni Peniche scandal. Because what happened here is that he was effectively a bit of a tough teacher, right? He was pretty, you know, he wanted her to dance properly. And she's basically ruined his life. Now, I know there are two sides to every story. I actually like Amanda Abbington a lot. During the lockdowns, for example, she was really on the right side of history. She was one of the few people in showbiz who was a strong anti-lockdown campaigner, and I respect her for that. But Russell Quirke, unfortunately, she has dragged this guy, Giovanni, through the mud. And what did he do? What did he do? And so this is the problem now. If you know, it doesn't matter where you work, if you're talking about Strictly Come Dancing or if you're talking about working at your local Tesco's, you've got to be so paranoid when you're in the staff room, because your entire career can be ruined for something that in the past would have just been considered some playful banter.
Yeah, and I think that this is also sending a message to people that whether they're a celebrity or somebody that's a bit attention-seeking in a work environment, if you moan, complain, kick off, overreact, feign offence perhaps, it puts you in the spotlight for a little bit longer. It might even make you a bit of money, might make you famous where otherwise you might not have been. So I think, you know, we've got more of this, I'm afraid, to look forward to, with, you know, Yvette Cooper saying that the whole kind of non-crime hate incident thing, they actually want to increase the scope of that, whereby, you know, in the future, we generally, I won't be able to compliment a female. My mates won't be able to give me any stick for, you know, my hair. I mean, honestly, we won't be able to do anything.
No, it's dystopian. It's dystopian. And also, we know that these things are used by a particular sector of society, and it does tend to be the left, Charlie. I mean, are you nervous at all? Because obviously you are a punchy poster on X, a punchy user of social media. I think it's brilliant. But after what's happened to Alison Pearson, are you personally concerned at all? But first, we've been told our whole lives that wrinkle creams were the easiest way to look younger. Now, one doctor says that's nothing but old news. So this is according to John Lake, who is the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert. And he says that most wrinkle fixes on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. So he says they hardly make a dent on your appearance, and some can even be harmful to your skin. Recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? so he can pursue a revolutionary anti-aging breakthrough, one that some experts say could empty the wallets of the cosmetic industry. He says it's almost like Photoshop for your face. You may even be mad after seeing how easy it is to visibly erase your wrinkles from view. His personal clients have dubbed his new do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method because it can take years or even decades off your appearance in under 2 minutes. In light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public. It's free, it's uninterrupted, and he outlines exactly how to use this simple solution from home. Dr. Lake says if this helps even one person look younger or feel more confident, he'll be thrilled knowing he helped. The video has since gone viral, not surprisingly actually. At first it was shared by users on Facebook, but since then it's racked up over 2.3 million views and counting. So far the comments and feedback have been outstanding, with thousands of women reporting they look decades younger. One viewer even commented, "Best results of anything I've used. I can't believe how well this works. I'll never stop using this. I don't understand how it works, but the results are great. Thank you." So you can find out more about this yourself right now. Just go to bhmd1.com/outspoken or click on the link which is in the description box below. So let me repeat, bhmd1.com/outspoken. There is one thing Dr. Lake does ask from his viewers, though. If watching this video helps you look and feel younger than you have in years, then please share this video with your friends and loved ones. Together, we have the power to help as many women reclaim a youthful look as possible. So go watch the video at bhmd1, it's the number 1.com/outspoken right now, or just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show.
I mean, at the moment, I'm going to bed with some warm pajamas on, and I'm getting dressed as soon as I wake up, and I'm not even joking. I'm
No, I know lots of
chronically
commentators have said the
chronically
same thing.
expecting to get a knock on the door at the moment, and I'm sort of confused why I haven't, other than what I'm saying is in fact true, and so they could try and drag me through a court and even put me away for a few months. But once the truth comes out about the things I'm talking about, then they're going to have to row back and pay me a large amount of compensation. So they've perhaps decided it's not worth it. But
Now, I want to show you another example.
It's sinister.
You know, it is. It's totally sinister. I want to show you another example of this, which has come up today, actually. Narinder Kaur, friend of the show. I had her on The Clash last week talking about the whole criticism of Catherine, the Princess of Wales. Now, she has said today that the Met Police are in my home right now in response to these 2 tweets. And she's praised the police. She said, "Super efficient, thank you. Can anyone DM me the original accounts that started this? It's very important, thank you." And the tweets say, "Deport Narinder Kaur," and it's obviously made up. It's photoshopped to show 47 million signatures. And then the other makes a bit of a rude remark, which I'm not going to show you. But I responded to Narinder about this, saying it's not nice being trolled, Narinder. I've had it for years, as you know. But don't you understand this is a chronic waste of police time? We need these officers investigating stabbings and rape and stopping terror attacks, not patrolling tweets which hurt your feelings. And Russell Quirke, what really shocked me about this is that you cannot get a police officer to your house in London if you are the victim of a burglary or a mugging, for example. But they have raced around to Narinder Kaur because of a sort of satire tweet, which I don't see at all reaches the levels of a hate crime.
No, look, Narinder and I have lots of banter on X, on Twitter, lots and lots, and it's generally quite lighthearted. But of course, I do call her out and I do criticise her. Sometimes I decide to leave her alone, where I think she's kind of flipped out just a little bit too much that day, and I think today is one of those days. I mean, given that Narinder Kaur is the person that launches attacks on people left, right, and centre, including, of course, the Princess of Wales, calling her out for looking old, given that she's just recovered from cancer, and then actually made a victim of herself, going on national television to try and get everybody to feel sorry for her, given that she'd said that most offensive and insulting thing. I mean, is there more an offensive thing that you can say to a woman than "God, don't you look old"? I mean, very offensive. But of course, when it's turned around the other way, Narinder doesn't like it very much. But of course, the two tweets that she's talking about today, I nearly commented on them like you, and I thought, I'm not going to glorify her.
People always tell me off for this, but I'm always like, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Let's have the conversation. Let's have the debate. Some people criticize me for having her on the show, for example, to have it out with her in the clash about those posts regarding Catherine, the Princess of Wales. But I don't believe in deplatforming people. I don't believe in banning people. What I do think, though, is that it's really, really worrying, Charlie, that people on the left clearly think they are totally protected from this form of lawfare because, as Russell points out, right, Narinder's posts can be utterly vile, can be filled with hate. Now, she would be horrified if the police turned up at her house. And it's just what we see with folk like John Sopel and Emily Maitlis and the people who run Have I Got News For You and Private Eye. They don't care about people on the right being hunted down the police because they know that it will never happen to them.
Well, exactly. And at the moment, they're in the advantage point in that the state is backing them up. And, you know, the whole point of free speech is that the state might not always back you up. Things change, time moves on. And suddenly the people who run the establishment aren't your friends. And so that's why you don't persecute your political enemies.
Exactly. It's like when YouTube removed Novara Media. Now, I can't stand Novara Media. They have literally run lies about me for years. I think they are one of the most toxic and caustic forces in British media. However, I immediately stood up for them when they were booted off YouTube, immediately, because they have a right to spread their brand of journalism. We must stand up for free speech. And if Novara Media can be booted off, then I can be booted off too. So you've also got to think about it in that context. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.